Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to give a complete shutdown on our DBMS page. So in this video, I would like to, uh, you know, make use of all those concepts on a single table and see how each of them works, and how all of them work together. So let's start with it. So let me create my query tool. So we have an empty canvas here. So let's try to create a table and then insert something in the table. Let's try to alter the table, and then let's try to write some queries. Let's try to write some joins, and then we will also write some sort of procedures and some PL-SQL objects on it. So we will try all of this on a single table or maybe a couple of tables. Right. So let's try. So let so in, instead of writing on it, I'm just gonna copy it from somewhere. Okay, let's see. Okay, so these are the two tables that we're going to work. One is the accounts table. So it will have the account ID, account holder, account type, balance, and created it. So there are some okay. There might be some new things that we might be seeing. That what is this? A serial thing. Serial is like okay, it is going to create you an auto incremented values, right? So if you're inserting one, then two, three, so it's going to create that sort of values, and it is also a primary key. And then the account holder. The account holder is not supposed to be null, so we will not allow any null values into it. And since the account ID is a primary key, it will eventually be unique and not null. And then the account type. Okay, in any in any sort of bank, so there may be any okay so there are actually a lot of types of accounts, but here I'm just trying to check if that account is a savings account or a checking account, then only I'm going to have it in my table. So we have used a check constraint on it, right? And then we're using the balance. It is of the type decimal. It can have up to 10 digits with a precision of 2, and it is going to have a check that the balance cannot be greater than or equal to 0, since we are creating it the see since we're creating it initially. We're making sure this thing, and then there is something called as create rate, and we're using the of, and this is of the type called uh, timestamp. So what is a timestamp? A, so it is a variable. It is a database utility. It is going to give you the entire information from the year, month, day to the hours, minutes, and seconds. So it is going to have the exact reference of this, in in the time, and by default it is going to have the current timestamp. So the current timestamp will be the exact timestamp that we are using this, right? And then we have the second table called transactions. So the transactions table is almost the same way, but the important thing is that the transaction ID is serial as well as the primary key. The account ID, see, we have another account ID in this accounts table. That means we can use it as a foreign. Yes. So this account ID references the accounts table account ID, and on deleting this table, whatever the accounts that are created based on it are going to be deleted on cascade. Right. So this is how we enforce the a foreign key and some sort of on deal cascade things. And then we have the a transaction type. We can only withdraw or deposit, then the amount and the transaction date, right? So we have created these two tables. Let's try to insert some sort of data into them. I got a script for that. Fine. Okay, let's execute this. Fine. Now let's select from the accounts table. Right. So we have the data. So we have five accounts with all this, and there are some savings accounts, some checking accounts, some balance, and they are created. So it's almost at the same timestamp since we are inserting all of them. But in real time, it will have some different values, right? Yeah. And then we're going to insert into the transactions. Okay, inserted. Let's select. Let me select them from the transactions. Fine, we got it. So we got the values. So we have five accounts and we have 10 transactions. So assuming that each account has at least has done at least a single transaction of deposit and withdrawal. Yeah, so it's fine. So we have these values now. So we have seen how to create tables and how to insert records into that. Now let's go for query. So let me check. Okay, let me paste this and see what it does. So this is a simple filtering query. So we use the where clause. So what am I trying to do? I am trying to select some information, okay, from the accounts table where the account ID is 1. That means I want to fetch some columns of this account table where the account ID is 1. What did I get? I get all this information which I have requested. So this is a basic filtering query. So we didn't use anything explicitly than the where clause. So the where clause is just used to kind of make a row level filtering. Okay, let's see another one. So here I'm trying to select everything from transaction where the account ID is 1. So I want to see what are the transactions made by the account ID 1. So these are the three transactions. So the account ID 1 has deposited 1,000 and then withdrawn of 500 and then deposited 1,500 again. So these are the transactions. Okay, let's see what is there of the account 4. Yeah. Yeah. So we did a deposit and a withdraw. So in this way you can make a simple queries. Okay, now let's go a bit further and see how can we group them by. So I would like to see all the deposits into an account ID. Okay, I'm going to group all the accounts and I'm going to see which account has deposited what sort of amount. Okay, let me run this. So it says that account ID 1 has done the total deposit of 2,500, right? And how did we get this? So I'm just calling the account ID and I'm going to do the sum on this amount as the total deposits from transaction where the transaction type is deposit, and I'm going to group by account ID. So if you're having issue in understanding, let me select the accounts and explain what we did. Okay. So using the account ID, yeah. So in the transaction table, so we use the transaction table, right, instead of accounts table, right. In the transaction ID, I grouped all of this by the account ID. That means this record and this record and this record. So they are grouped into a single thing. And then I am enforcing another constraint saying that you only select the ones which are of the type deposit. That means okay, I don't care about this one now. Now I have selected two records. Now these two records are retrieved to me. I will select the account ID, so I get to 1, and then I'm going to sum the amount. So the amount is 1,000 and 1,500. So if I'm going to sum these two, I'm going to get 2,500, and I'm going to present that column as the total deposits. All right, fine. So we got this. So that is expected of us, and we are going to do the same for all the accounts. So all the accounts deposits are going to be coming on our screen. Now let's go for another one. Okay, let's see what are we doing here. Okay, even before executing this, let's see what we're trying to do. So we are selecting some information, some accounts where the balance is greater than What is this? So we are trying to set the average of balance from accounts. So we have discussed that when you are not aware of what what can be the where condition, if you have to uh, compute that value, so you can use the nested queries. So using the inner query, you can compute the value, and then the outer query will be uh, checking the value against the value that was given by the inner query, right? So okay, let me run this first and see what we get. So we're getting that the 5300 is the average balance. Now I should get all the accounts whose balance is greater than a 5300. Do we have any account? So the account ID 3 and 5 are having balance is 8000 and 10,000. So we got them as our output. Right. Now let's see. So now let's write a query to get the account holders who made withdrawals. Who made withdrawals? So it will be available in the a transaction table, right? So using the a transaction type of withdrawal, I'm going to select all the account IDs, and I'm going to use the a keyword called distinct, since the same ID can do multiple withdrawals. I don't want all those duplicate IDs with me, so I'm going to call it distinct. And now from the account holders, I'm saying if my account ID is in the account IDs which have done the withdrawals, then only I'm going to select the name of the account holder. So if I execute this, I think all most of them have done a transaction. Right. So let's see. So we got all the five values because each one of them has made a withdrawal. So it is recorded in the transaction table. So we get all these values. Okay. So next, let's try to find the latest transaction date for each account. So each account has made a transaction. So I want to see who is the more active and who is the most active account. So to find that, I have this query. So what is this doing? So I'm selecting account ID and account holder, and I'm saying select max. So here this is so we can call it as a correlated nested query, right? So here I'm trying to select the max of transaction date from the transactions where the t dot account ID is equals to a dot account ID as the latest transaction date from account A. I can actually have it here, but if you were to use a correlated nested query, there is actually no exact syntax how you can use it. You can place it here, or you can use a where clause and or do the same, or you can use it in the from and use it as an inline query. So how but why does it become uh, a correlated nested query? Because see, we have the account set, so this belongs to the outer query. So we are using the reference inside our inner query. So it makes it correlated with the outer query. So let's try to execute this and see what output we get. Yeah, so we got this that so these are the latest transactions that were made by these accounts. All right. Okay, now let's find the accounts where the last transaction was withdrawal. So the last transaction of the accounts could be a withdrawal or could be a deposit, but I want to find out all the accounts who have made a withdrawal. Right? How can I do that? So I'm going to use an inner query, right? So I'm going to select the a transaction type. If it is withdrawal, I'm going to do that, and I'm limiting it to one because see, I'm just trying to extract the transactions. If this condition is satisfied, I'm going to order them, and after ordering, I'm going to get a list of it. But I don't want the list of it. I only want to fetch the first one. So since I want the first one, I can say a limit one. So I will only get the first record, and then I'm actually checking. Okay, if it is going to okay, it will return me whatever it can return me a withdraw or a deposit based on that account's activity. So if it is equal to withdrawal, then I'm going to select it. I'm going to select the account ID and account holder. So who made a withdrawal? the latest withdrawal was done. Let's see from the transactions. Okay, okay here. So here the withdrawal was done last by the fourth, by second, by the fifth. Uh, okay, so two, 4, and 5 are expected, and there might be more. Okay, let's see what this shows us. So we got 3 and 5. So these two accounts have done the last a transaction, which is a withdrawal. Right. Now let's try to go for joins and see how they work. So I'm going to join the accounts and a transactions to show the transaction details with the account holders. Okay. I want to match those two columns and get a full view of the transactions. So I'm going to select a few things from accounts A joined on the transactions T on the condition where account ID is equals to the account ID of that a transaction table. A very simple join. Let's run this and see what we get. So we get a whole bunch of it. Yeah. So here I have some columns from this accounts table and some from the transactions table. Now I can get a good view of what's happening here. I can see that Alice Johnson has made a deposit of 1,000 rupees on this transaction page. So this is giving me a good view of what's happening, right? So it's a simple jump. Now let's see if let's see that I want to hold the values of all the accounts, but I want to see if it's a deposit. I want to show the uh, total deposits for each account using the left join. I'm going to So let me copy this and paste it here. Right. Okay, let me run this, and I think I did explain about this function called collage. So if there is any value which is null in this section, I'm going to replace it with 0 and then use 0 as the value of that null, right? And then I'm using the left join, and I'm going to group by the account ID. Okay, so this is what we got. So these are the account holders and their total deposits they've done, right? But let's move further and see. Okay, let's try to find the transactions that have happened in the last 7 days, and we are going to introduce a new keyword here in this query. Right, so I'm going to select star from transaction where transaction date is greater than or equals to current date minus interval of 7 days. So what does this mean? I think you're aware what this current it is. Can I run this thing? Okay. So we cannot. So literally the current date is nothing but it is going to return you an object of date which will have the exact uh, the exact date of the when you are running this, right? And then I'm actually subtracting a value called interval of 7 days. So what will this interval of 7 days will return? So interval is a keyword. It is going to convert this a 7 days thing. So it is going to return you a value in the a format of date, which is of a 7 days interval before whatever date is, right? So I'm going to subtract the current date. So I'm going to subtract a value of 7 from my uh, current date and see what are the transactions made in between these two timestamps. So I did get all the transactions because we just inserted them. So not an ideal one, but I just wanted to do show how this interval thing works and why is it needed. So it is used to make since we cannot use the arithmetic operators on the database objects, so we have to use the interval keywords to specify that I want to remove 7 from this date. So see, we cannot remove 7 directly, right? So if you were to remove 7 from a value called 5, then you get a negative 2, which is not ideal. You have to get something like a 29 or 30. So that's why we use interval. and then let's find the transactions grouped by the day they occurred, and let's find the transaction, and let's find the total deposit amount for the current month. Right, let's go. Okay, let's. Okay, so here we use some sort of functions called extract. So extract is used to extract the month or year, the day, or the a a day of the week. We can extract them, and we have to say month. So what feature you want to extract? I want to extract the feature month, or you want to extract the feature year from. Okay, from. So you have to provide the reference of a column which is of the type date. So the a transaction date is of the type date. So I'm going to give it. So it will extract the month, and it will extract the month, and it will extract the current date. So we're checking if the deposit happened in these two particular days, and I'm going to sum the amounts and get the value. So the a total deposit was 5,700. Interesting. Now let's go further. And let's see another date related function. Yeah. Yeah. So what does this do? So here we are extracting something called a DOW. So the DOW is the day of the week. So it will return a value 0 for Sunday, and it will return the value 6 for Saturday, and all of them in between follow the order. So from the transaction date, if I say I want to extract the day, okay, I can even write the day. It's a keyword, so it is going to extract the day from me, but I want to know, okay, it's going to extract the number. If it's a 16th March, I'm going to get the value as 16, but no, I want to know if the a 16 is a Sunday or a Monday. Then I have to use this DOW to get the day of the week, right? So let's see if these transactions were made in the weekend. We run this, and it seems that all of them were made on the weekend, since today is Sunday. So we get all these values extracted. So this is another function of the. So this is another way we can use extract. Right. Now let's look at the inline queries. Okay. Can we write an inline query on this data? Yeah. So here I have. Okay, I did. So I'm selecting something from the accounts, and I'm going to join, and the other resource is nothing but an inline query. An inline query that selects the account ID and the sum of amount as the total deposits from the transaction where it is a deposit type, and I'm grouping it by the account ID. So we did the same thing above. So this is going to return us a two column a resource. So we are going to use resource, and we are going to join these two tables, and then we are going to check the condition on. So we have given an alias name to this called D, and in this D I can access this account ID. So since we have mentioned it, so I'm going to compare it on them, and I'm going to check if the a total deposit is greater than 2,000. Fine. So let's run this and see if anyone has made a deposit of 2,000 amount. So we got two accounts that has satisfied this condition, right? So this is how you can give an inline query. So it's nothing but, so instead of using a table, you are using a resource. But okay, let's see another one of inline query. Okay, in this, so here also I'm doing the same thing. I'm selecting the distinct account IDs and the transaction type amounts from the transaction, and I'm going to order them. So let's execute this. So we got all these values. Fine. Now, so uh, one of the issue with the inline queries is that it's not often readable. So instead of using them, we usually go for something called as CTs, the common table expressions. Right? So this is a CT that I've written. So this is one CTE called as a deposit summary, and there is another CTE called withdraw summary. So I'm going to sum all the amounts which are deposited and all the amounts which are withdrawn. So I'm going to use these two as resources, and I use the query operator. If there are any else, I'm going to use 0 as my default value. So I'm going to, so in this select statement, my account is one of the resource, and then my CTE called deposit summary is another resource, and withdrawal summary is another resource. So using these three resources, I'm going to execute this. So let's see how it works. Okay, so we got an output. So this is all about it. And here in the total deposits, we got a 0 since there might be some null value, so it got replaced with 0. Okay, now so let's, so let's write another series. So this tries to find some monthly data. Right. So this is a CD called as the monthly deposits. So yes, so here we are selecting the date trunc function here. So we are passing the month and the transaction date. So it is going to return me the month, and I'm going to sum the all the amounts if it's a deposit. And here I'm going to select the to care of month. So so here a month is the column which will be returned in this a monthly deposit uh, CTE. So I'm going to use the month and I'm going to pass it into YYMM. So what does it mean? So I want you to understand the format of the date in this specific way. Okay, and I'm going to order it by month in a descending order. So let's run this. So this is the value. So we got the same output for one previous query as well in a similar way. So let's try to find the top three accounts. I want to find the top three accounts. How can I find it? Now I written a CT. It is going to find the account ID and the count of the amount the a number of transactions that were done by a single account ID. And I'm going to select some things from the account and I'm going to join it on the account transaction tree on the account ID, and I'm going to order and I'm going to order it by the transaction count. So this is the transaction count. If okay, I'm going to see which account has made more transactions. So I'm going to order them by, and I'm going to limit it to 2 3, so that I just want to see only the top three accounts who who did the most number of transactions. Let me run this, and I got three values. So I got Alice Johnson, Bob Smith, and Charlie's Dave, Davis. So this is the a transaction count which is ordered according to the a number of transactions done. Fine. Okay. Now I think we have seen enough of the SQL. Now let's try to write some sort of procedures. Okay. I have procedure called transfer money. Let's see what this procedure does. Fine. Okay, so I'm trying to create or replace a procedure called transfer money. I'm going to give two account numbers. I'm going to give the account from which the money has to be taken and to the account, and I'm going to give the amount that needs to be transferred. I have to make a lot of checks that okay, if it exists in this from account. So okay, we'll see all of that. So I'm defining the language PL-SQL. Let's begin. And the first thing I'm checking is if the balance from accounts where I have to take. So if the from account has the balance less than the transfer amount, then I have to raise an exception saying insufficient balance. I cannot take it out from the account that you have given. I'm going to end if. So if it is not the case, that means we have enough balance in that from account so that I can extract it. Okay, now I have to deduct the amount. I'm going to update the account, set the balance equals to balance minus transfer amount, where the account ID is from account. So from account I have to debit the money. From the to account I have to add the money. I did this. and now I have to insert all of this into the transactions, right? So I'm inserting into the transactions account ID, account type, amount, and transaction date values. I have to send two values. I have to send the from accounts. The withdrawal has happened of this amount, and in the to account, a deposited the amount was deposited, and I'm going to insert these two values, and I'm going to say commit. So this value will be committed, and I'm ending this procedure. Okay. Let's execute this procedure. Okay. So the procedure was executed. So let me give some values and see how it works. Uh, okay, I'm going to make a call on it, but before I just want to select the accounts and see if so what are the values that 1 and 2 have. Right? So 1 is the account ID, so the balance is 5,000, and the account 2 is the Bob Smith having 1,500. So I'm going to transfer 1,500 from Alice Johnson to Bob Smith, so that the a final the final balance should be 3,500 in one, and 3,000 in two. Okay, let's see if it happens. Let me call the transfer money. Okay, the call has been done. Now let's check if there is an update. Yes, there is an update. Right. So yeah. So we got the values as we wanted, and now let's check if these two things were there in the transaction table. Let me select everything from transactions. So we had around 10 transactions. Now we need to get at least 12. We have those two transactions written. Yes, we have these two transactions written with a different timestamp, as we can see. So a withdrawal has been made of a 1,500. A withdrawal has been made from one, and it has been deposited to the account number two. So yeah. So this is how the procedures work. All right. Now let's see. Okay, now let's write a function to get the account balance. So this is my function. I'm creating the function called get account balance. It is going to return a, a numeric, which is the account balance. I'm declaring the account balance of type numeric. I'm selecting the balance into my account balance from accounts where account ID is equal to the account ID which I have provided, and I should return the account balance. A very simple function. Okay, let's run this on. So we got the balance as 3,500. Fine. That's how we write functions on it. Okay, so we'll see more of this in the next video. I think it has got long enough. So this is about the basic functions, and we'll see some more in next video.